Marvin Wilson, a 54-year-old death row inmate, has been put to death in Texas. The controversy is that many say that Wilson has an IQ of 61, which technically makes him a mentally retarded or mentally handicapped individual. Now, the Supreme Court rejected without any comment the last-ditch appeal to stay the execution, Lewis, clearing the way for the lethal injection. The appeal cited a 2004 psychological exam, which said his IQ was 61. The Texas benchmark for mental retardation is about 70 or less. I don't know what about 70 or less means. It doesn't sound like an exact number, but of course measuring IQ is not exactly an exact science either. The Texas federal courts rejected this. They said, you know, prosecutors made the case that he was a street-savvy criminal. He also had some IQ tests that showed his IQ was in the low to mid-70s. He was convicted in 1994 in the shooting death of Jerry Williams, who was 21 at the time, who police had identified as, who had identified him to police as a drug dealer. His accomplice in the crime, Terry Lewis, was given life in prison with the possibility of parole after Lewis's wife testified that Wilson confessed to pulling the trigger. The argument about why, listen, regardless of what IQ test says, 61 or 71 or 75, the argument that was used by the prosecution was, quote, Wilson created schemes using a decoy to screen his thefts, hustled for jobs in the community, and orchestrated the execution of the snitch, demonstrating inventiveness, drive, and leadership. I actually don't really care whether this is a mentally retarded individual or not. Why do we still have the death penalty again, particularly in Texas, which executed an innocent man in the recent years? Doesn't make any sense to me. That being said, do you think this is an argument to be had about what is the IQ and at what point can you or can you not execute someone?
No, I mean, I really think that's more of a distraction, right? I mean, because the conversation should be about the death penalty overall.
Yeah, I'm mixed because, Natan, on one hand, I do feel compelled to say no one who is mentally retarded should be executed. At the same time, I kind of feel like I'm taking away from the main point, which is that we shouldn't have the death penalty at all, even by talking about that.
Right. It kind of makes it seem like if they could somehow resolve the issue of mentally retarded people being executed, everyone will be okay with executions for everybody else.
Right.
I agree. I think that if we're going to oppose the death penalty, we need to look at it not just in light of this issue, but at whether the state should be killing people at all, period.
The other thing also, Lewis, is that people hoping that there was a stay of execution, Governor of Texas Rick Perry is not going to grant a stay to anyone that has a chance of carrying out the office of governor with more intelligence than he's shown. And that's probably really at the root of why Rick Perry wouldn't want to buy into that stay.
Yeah, I hear he's planning on wiping out most of the state in general.
It's going to result that way if he follows this tactic, no question about it.
Perhaps this has to go to the federal level. Not this case, obviously. That's
just
done.
Rick Perry's intelligence.
No, executions.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I think that we do need a federal ban on the death penalty.
There you go.
But of course, that's too much government. And as Ron Paul said, I would be against anything that's more government, as we've heard him say many, many times.
And I don't think any president, left or right, is going to really have that on their radar as a major issue.
No, probably not.